I'm Rachel, and welcome to Mom Life Unfiltered. Today we have Ju and Rachie. I'll let them start with a brief introduction.
So I'm Rachel as well, but because we have two Rachels in the group, I go by Rachie. I was born and raised in Canada. I moved to Florida over 20 years ago. Love Florida. You might pick up on my accent because I say out and about. And I am a mom of twin boys that are now 12 and another little boy that's 9. And mom life is very hectic because it just is, you know? We have to do it all. So we met, I will tell you guys, we met ironically at a workout place called Orange Theory. When I met them, we just clicked, but we'll go into that soon. First, we're going to introduce Ju.
Hi, my name is Juliana Kennedy. I'm known as Juju. I'm a Brazilian, and I live here in the U.S. for 15 years now. I'm married to an American who's obsessed with Brazil, speak Portuguese, live there. I have a 10-year-old daughter, Sophie, and a 4-year-old Thomas. I lived in LA for 2 years, 7 years in Washington, D.C., and 6 years in Tampa, and that's where I feel home. I feel like home. I go to Brazil, but I'm excited to back home. And I'm excited to be here.
I'm Rachel, and I am from upstate New York. So I want to be very clear on the upstate portion, as in from the hills of New York. I'm not from New York City. I'm from a small town, Elmira, and I have actually been in Tampa for about 8 or 9 years now. And I was brought down by Byron Johnson. He actually came to Elmira to start a business, and I managed that business. And then he grabbed me and said, "Hey, we're going to Florida."
And he managed you.
Right, now I still manage all of that.
She's still the boss.
So now I'm here. We have 4 kids. We have a 12-year-old, an 11-year-old, a almost 4-year-old, and a 5-month-old. And life is busy and hectic, and I'm truly grateful to be able to have this podcast with my friends because, you know, brunching and going to the gym and, you know, meeting up with them is, you know, one of the main things that gets me through being a mom.
Yes,
keeps
absolutely.
me grounded. Back to what Rachel said, we met originally at Orange Theory, I think maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Close to
3
3
years
years ago. And Rachel was the first friend that I met at Orange Theory. And then shortly after, Ju was like, you know, a little weary at first, no new friends.
Yes,
And,
I remember that. She's like, "Who's
right.
that girl you're talking to?"
She got to know
She's
me,
protective.
and I think
Protective.
after that, we've all been like sisters.
Yeah, we clicked
So,
it right away, too.
I think Ju's like the protector of us. She's always like, you know,
She's the gatekeeper.
She's a gatekeeper, for sure.
You got to get through Ju to get to the group.
Yes, she was like, "Who's that new girl you're talking to?" I'm like, "Oh my God, her name's Rachel, just like me."
Yeah.
She's so sweet. And she's like,
But it was once meeting Rach that you fall in love.
Absolutely.
Like, everyone is like obsessed.
I think she regretted the day she got next to me on the charge. She's like, "Oh shoot, I don't want to be next to this girl."
Yeah. No, because you know, going to Orange Theory, I think was
intimidating.
It's intimidating
It
at
is.
first, and at first, you know, people don't always talk to you, and they have their cliques, and it's like, am I going to fit in? And it kind of changes the dynamic of just like going to the gym and getting a workout.
My husband was in Orange Theory, actually in Washington, D.C., and he was begging me for a year. I had Tommy, and I wanted to lose the baby weight, and he's like, "Babe, Orange Theory is perfect for you. They're really fun. You love the music, and they tell you what to do. They just push you." And I was like, no, that's not for me. I see how nervous you were to get into a class and this competition, and then you guys post this ranking things. Like, that's not for me. Like, I don't need this. Like, this is insane.
This is a cult.
Yeah, it is a cult.
Literally
It
for
is.
a year, like, he made the people from the front desk calls me like, "Oh, we have a good deal. You want to come in?" I was like, "No, like, can you stop giving my phone number to these people?" Until actually Bailey, she's like, "I'll try a class with you."
So that motivated you.
Yes, and I feel like I'm always motivated having a friend
Yes.
with workouts and things that's like hard, or maybe you just need a push. Or
I remember there'd be mornings where I didn't necessarily want to go, or I didn't pre-book, and like somebody's texting like, "Are you here? Are you coming?
Yeah.
I'm
Do you
on
want me
my
to
way."
save you a tread, or-
And then
Yeah.
it's like, damn, like now I can't cancel. Like
Well,
now I
let's
gotta
go to first watch after. Let's let's
so,
have a brunch.
you know,
after.
so you have the real fear of missing out. So
Yeah.
then you go.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's about consistency, and I think that the only way that you see long-term results in anything in life is consistency. But Orange Theory brought us together as friends, and now we've become sisters,
family, yeah.
family. We did keep each other motivated, and it was awesome until it closed down. The location we went to.
Which is why I think we were talking earlier about, like what made us want to do the podcast.
Yeah.
And for me, like you were saying.
Yeah, I missed this. I missed after the class being an hour, Joe would call and be like, where are you? Class is done an hour ago. I was like, we're outside and talking.
Yeah.
Like just mom life.
We just clicked.
Yeah.
Or even after you go shopping or you run an errand together and
or you
just
get a smoothie.
You get a smoothie. You just have the outlet
Yeah.
of like a reprieve from like life and your kids and just the constant go. So for me, I was like, all I do is like Byron, before I first started wanted to start the podcast, he's like, what are you going to talk about? So for him, he does like the basketball or the real estate or whatever. And he's like, what are you passionate about? And it was kind of like, what am I passionate about? What do I do? And all that like resonated with me was, well, I'm a mom, right?
Yeah.
So I work out, but like most of what I'm doing is running around and, being the caretaker, keeping the family together.
So you are the glue. And by the way, I think a lot of people don't realize, unless you're a mom, of course, it is not an easy job, especially nowadays. I mean, you do it all. And there's no title, and we work 24/7. And it is nonstop.
Yeah, I said when I hop out of bed, it's like a stop, like having one of those clocks, like when you run a race where you hit the button and then it's just go. And then not until you fall into bed and you hit the button does like it stop. It's just.
But even when you hit
constant.
the bed, I feel like my head is like, okay, so Sophie has morning show, so she has to go early. But then Joe, and I need to fit Jim in between. But then I had to take Tommy to school. And that's when I was like, okay, I have that plan for tomorrow. And that's when I feel like I can't. So this is like, sometimes like I call you guys and I was like, I just need a break. Like, let's just have like a acai bowl. Like I just need to talk to an adult or just.
It's hard. Crazy. It's hard. You make it work, but it is difficult. And you hold it down so that your spouse can be successful too. So,
Yeah. It's all about sacrifice.
Sacrifice, moderation, just.
I know how to balance. That's how I feel. Like I feel like when I'm being grouchy with the kids or maybe with my husband, and I was like, I feel like, I need a girls' night. I need just to not be a mom for a while. And it's a dinner or it's a lunch. Like yesterday, it's just I come home happier. I come home lighter. I feel like I'm a better mom. I'm a better wife. It's just little things. I feel like sometimes we want to do a big deal thing, and it's not. It's
simple.
It's just simple. It's just maybe go on a walk like we used to at Car Lakes, or just
anything.
Go to Lulu at Hyde Park and come back and pick up the kids and go back to our schedule. And I feel like some moms that I know struggle. They look like, you're always doing fun things. I try to do fun things, but I'm still doing everything else, like home or wife or picking up.
But you're extremely good at scheduling.
I try.
I mean, I think
and she's good at scheduling and she's intentional. So like it might look like she lives a certain life, like, and people may be like jealous of it. That's another thing is like you see Jew and you post all this stuff and it looks one way,
had so many
but it might not be that. She might have, before she posted that picture of brunch, she might have went and lifted, took Tommy, helped a friend out, did PTA, did her kid's hair, went to a book fair, was the PTA mom at a science, like you have no idea.
She does a million things and she's very good at scheduling. That's
You're
what I mean.
very good at like posting and being intentional with your time, I feel like, and doing the things that matter, but it's not all like
but makes me happy to accomplish all of this and still have me time.
Yes.
Like for me, it's so important, like to have me time. And me time is mostly Sophie and VPK one day said, it was like, what's your, on Mother's Day, what's your mom's favorite thing to do? And she wrote, Mom's loves girls' night.
And Tommy loves shopping.
Yeah, Mom loves shopping.
I mean, because sometimes going to brunch and like that's the extent of like your girl time. Besides like maybe going to work out, like for me, working out is like super important. Like when I don't work out, I feel like I have a bad day.
Yeah, me too.
Just because it's like the only hour of the day that I don't really have to think about anything other than what I'm doing in that moment,
That's your 1 hour of personal.
And you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
So it's for you.
Not just that, I feel like you let all your, stress out and toxins, because you have a lot of load on you. You're thinking about all the things the kids have to do all day, everything that Byron needs from you, everything that the house needs, all these things that you don't think about are, piling up, that's just normal life for you. It's everyday things. You think about what's going on at home, outside, inside of the house. All the situational things that
yesterday I went to lunch for like a break. Like it was like random. Like hey, let's meet up. I need a second. Okay, cool. Let's meet up. I'm like, all right. I was going to go get the girls. And I was like, you know what? If I get Vivian, I'm going to have like 45 minutes to kill until I have to go get Peyton. So let me just call Byron, because the office is only 11 minutes from where Vivian goes. And I called and I was like, it was raining. It's like, can you get the girls? And he's like, yes, we got the girls. And I was like, great. Like, I'll go home and like, I'll do more things. Not like I'm going to go home and like kick my feet up. I walk in and I'm like looking around. I'm like, what's that noise? And I just hear like a drip, right? And I look up and water's pouring from my ceiling. The AC unit backed up, and the thing that like stops the water from like dripping like stopped working. Gosh. Right? So it's just dripping, and there's like plaster on the floor, and it's just like,
so from the top of everything that's in her list.
So I go home to get a reprieve from like, okay, like the one day, because I won't get the girls. I'm gonna go home and just work on other things that I need to do. And then you walk into that, and it's just like
life never stops.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's just life. You just got to keep on going. Yeah. And that's the problem, is if you don't take a break with your friends and like hang out and just do these things for yourself,
you feel like you're in a survival mode.
You're never going to. You have to make the time, which is why I appreciate Ju always scheduling things. She's like, hey, let's do this, let's do that. Because she sets us back into like that gear of, hey, it's not all about mom life and everything. You have a life too. We were humans before we became moms, but you lose a lot of that when you have kids. And it's not by choice. It just happens.
And we love being moms. I love being moms.
Absolutely love it.
But it's intense. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of moms coming to me, especially the end of summer. I had some moms like last week of summer, like, I just cannot take it. I just cannot take it. And I was like, it's the lack of routine. It's the lack of the activities. They're just on top of us, and we need our time. And I was like, you're not alone. Like all my friends, we all in this same level of stress of having like 2 months and a half of not routine, and just having them on top of mom, interrupting us, and just... And
what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? When can we do that? Can I have this? It's just like from, your kids always need you. Yeah. No matter how old, whether they're 5 months or they're 12. Like, I noticed that as soon as I like have one kid off of me, like the other kid like see she's free, and then they like want to latch on.
They come to the bathroom.
I'm 40 and I still needy with my parents. I
mean, the thing is, you look back in time, right? I think back to when I was a child, I never bothered my mom this much. Yeah. Ever.
Different generations.
Absolutely.
Just completely.
Generational gap.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of it has to do with electronics. Let's be real. Yeah. That's just life. Yeah. And it's
we had to
very
use our
difficult.
imagination. We had to figure stuff out for ourselves. And kids nowadays have had so much just stimulation in front of them at any given time that as soon as like it seems like things are shut off, they like don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do.
So instead of figuring out for themselves, I've noticed that they turn to the parent to be like, well, what are we doing?
Yeah. What's next?
I don't know if you guys are having the same problem I have. Like, Sophie's been to school for 2 weeks. I want her less in an electronic, but at the same time, her homework is on iPad. Typing club is on iPad. The books that the teachers wants to read it's on the library on iPad.
Yeah.
I went and I bought 12 books physically, so she could read it without being on because if not, I have to be in a moderating, like, okay, that's enough. Like, you spend 2 hours on your iPad. Oh, I was doing homework, but now I want to watch. So it's like, how long on electronic? So it's just trying to like
balance the stimulate. So the thing is, if you look back in time, when it was basics, like back to basics, we did everything with pencil and paper. Back then, we knew how to tell the time. We also knew how to write cursive. They don't even do that in school anymore.
In Brazil, it's only cursive. Sophie's like, Mom, how can you write so pretty? I was like, Sophie, I'll get you so you can practice.
They don't teach them that.
They don't teach that anymore. So those things is especially cultural. Like, and I was like, she needs, I feel like a little bit of what we had. I feel like it's lacking that. Yeah, a little bit more. I know I want her to be advanced and be smart with electronic, but at the same time,
you want to keep that balance.
The boundaries.
Yeah, the boundaries. It's hard. Like, I was talking to one of the teachers the other day, and she's like, we want your children at the school to have basic foundation of education, but at the same time, we have to keep up with the times. You know, by the time that their generation's in high school, it's all going to be on computer. They're going to be submitting. And I already see that because my children switched to middle school this year. So it's been a huge transition from elementary. They have more homework, more assignments, different type of setup with school because now they're doing 6 periods and it's half a semester. And then the next semester they do another 6 periods. So they have to really have their life organized and it's teaching them how to be more diligent about getting things done. But at the same token, I'm like looking at this stuff. I didn't do this stuff in middle school.
Yeah.
Heck, I haven't been in school for 20 years. So I'm having to do school with them because I'm learning from the get-go again. And it's mind-boggling. My brother, who's a physician, looked at what they had to do because he had to help me set up their laptops. I'm not a technical person. I admit it. You know, I didn't do this stuff when I was younger. And he was just astonished. He said, I cannot believe
the things they're
teaching these kids at this age. He said it's wonderful because they are so smart and they are introduced this type of platform at a much earlier age. But he was just astonished at the amount of leaps and bounds that they made now in middle school. He was getting taught this in high school. You know?
Yeah, it's
but
really
you know,
nice.
and that was one topic that I was gonna bring up was, you know, how is everybody adjusting with, you know, back to school life, the transition of going from summer to school. And for me, like just getting, you know, used to the schedule, the transportation,
That's the worst.
has been big, you know, like having to, you know, you're used to summer, you wake up, you don't really have like any time constraints to now it's like I wake up, if I wake up 15 minutes late, it might throw my whole entire morning off. You know, I went from having a 25-minute commute to almost from beginning to end. Now it's an hour and a half.
Traffic.
That's just in the morning. That's not even counting in the middle of the day. So it's actually 3 hours of commute, which is like, you know, for me, like you were saying earlier, how when you have something planned, you like kind of go backwards. Like, all right, she has this at 6:45. So at 6:30, I need to be doing this. At 6, I need to do this, you know? So it's just a lot more, I feel like even responsibility for me when the kids go back to school. And to touch on what you were saying about how much more things are advanced now, and now you have a middle schooler, Peyton's in middle school. I feel like as much as they want the kids to be self-sufficient and they're giving them, you know, more tools to be, I don't know, more advanced in things,
too.
more independent. I do feel like somewhere in our kids' generation that
It's overkill.
Well, I feel like they want them to be so advanced, but the kids don't know the basics.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
was
I'm saying.
talking
It's
about in the
overkill.
car, like, I feel like kids are so like dependent on like electronics or their parents, but for the basics, like to do the basics for themselves, they're very much lacking.
Yeah.
Very
'Cause they don't have
immature.
to. Very immature.
So they can't do the things that I remember. Like when I was in 4th and 5th grade, I
Yeah.
feel like I was way more advanced than the way kids are now.
In real life.
In real
So
life.
you look at them,
Yeah,
they,
every
are,
day.
they are geniuses on the computer
Yeah.
and the technology department. And I feel like I'm loose goose. Like, what's going on? What do I do? Plus, let's take it another step with their new language they're speaking. I know all the parents can resonate with the Riz, Cap,
Right.
Giot, all these. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that. All those words that they use. I had to look it up. I'm like, what are they speaking?
We were Googling exchanges.
Like in my day, it
so
was
what's
dude.
Riz?
Right.
What's
Like, yeah, what's this?
charisma?
I know. But
Right.
anyway, back to the basics. If you look at these kids these days, you're right. They get up in the morning, Mom, what do I wear for school? I'm like, what? Mom,
and if you
Mom,
think-
everything's Mom.
And if you think this is, we see this, we see they are lacking this. I swear, there's parents that like when I'm involved like with PTA or just helping the first week of getting kids out of the cars. So my daughter has this structure at her house, even though she doesn't have the basic, and we are trying to have her have chores. And we always say, Sophie, one day you're gonna go to college, you're gonna have to cook for yourself, you're gonna have to do this. In Brazil was a different reality. We had helpers. We don't have helpers here, so it's on us.
It's
Like,
our job to
yeah.
actually take the time and teach them. And I've done that now with Sammy, my little one. So I noticed in the twins, I did baby them. They were my firstborns, you know, and they're boys. Let's talk about that. I mean, they're just less mature naturally.
Yeah, absolutely.
But with Sammy now, I'm like, hey, I always do this to him, and he laughs, and he does that back to me now. I'm like, hey, use your brain. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, pretend you didn't have this. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. He wanted to pump a ball because he plays soccer, right? What's the first thing he's going to do? Mom, can you pump this ball for me? I said, no, you're going to pump it. He goes, but how? I said, remember how I taught you to pump your bike with the wheel and you put this
The needle
in?
Yeah.
You know, obviously the bike doesn't need a needle, but I said, let's see if you can figure it out. So I'd give it to him and I'd just watch him. And he's like, what do I do? I'm like, see if you can figure it out. If you can't, I'll help you. But I want to just see what you would think. So I teach him now how to think beyond the regular, just,
it's so easy to just do it.
Yeah.
It's important.
And for me, like, so you said a couple things, and there's a lot to each of what you said. Like, so one part I was going to talk about is, you know, us taking the time to show our kids. You sent a Instagram, like, post a couple months ago or something, and it was this lady in the parking lot, and she was all frazzled because she was rushing with her kids in the Target parking lot, and it just seemed like it was a big meltdown, and like everything was just chaotic, right? And then you had the grandma who has nothing but time, and she was in the same exact scenario with the kids, but she wasn't rushed.
She opened the trunk and got the juice box, and she enjoyed the moment.
Yeah, so I feel like now as moms, and you know, you're just so rushed and busy to move on to the next thing that for me, I know a lot of the reason why I've taken the responsibility from my kids is instead of like hounding them or them not doing it or them not doing it the way that I want it done, I just do it myself. Because I want to be on to the next thing. I don't want to think about it, talk about it, ask you.
Check out the list.
Yeah, I just want to. And that really, I feel like, is debilitating.
Well, that's
to
why.
the kids because they. And
expect you.
Yeah, and what I notice is when you do pass things back to your kids, like, hey, you fill the ball, hey, you make yourself breakfast.
And they're proud of themselves.
Well, what I'm seeing is not that they're even taking the initiative. Like, sometimes they just won't do it then.
Well, no,
like,
they say,
you're hungry,
or Mom,
you won't, like.
But Mom, you do.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know how to do it. Mom, but they do know how to do it. They just don't want to because we set that. It's all about expectations. And I was watching this document the other day, and it really resonated with me. I started to talk to my husband about it, and I said, listen, we really need to put our foot down and change some things around here because nothing's getting accomplished.
Right.
If you tell your children, hey, you can't get this if you don't do this, but you don't follow through and you give it to them anyway, that's it. They know they have you.
Yeah.
You have to follow through with what you say.
Joe
so if you
always
tell
says
them
like
you can't have your iPad, consequences.
Joe's like, it doesn't, why would you yell or be mad at her? For her, it's just going to go in one here, one here. Do consequences. And you say, she's not going to have a sleepover. She's going to not go to Busch Gardens, whatever. Do this once, and I promise she's going to learn the lesson. And it's hard
following through.
You say that, but you know, are you going to follow through? And sometimes it's hard
because I already scheduled with my friends.
So why is it
the water
hard?
park?
And why is it hard? Because we're so busy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we rely on this iPad as the babysitter. Like, you know what? Here, take this, and just
get out of my face.
Get out of my face so that I can take care of this.
Yeah.
It's just. Is it that life is giving us too much, or that we take on too much?
And we feel guilty. Sometimes I feel guilty. Tommy's 4, sweetheart, but I need to do this and I need to go there. It's like, okay, Tommy, stay here. Daddy's on his office. Like,
it's hard.
It's hard.
The balance.
But at the same time, it's like, who can entertain a kid all day? He goes to school at 8:30 to 12:30.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's the thing. They used to entertain themselves.
Yeah.
Back to the basics. You know, you didn't have an iPad. Everybody,
go play Lego.
When they wanted to
enjoy.
watch TV, you would all watch as a family in one room. Yeah. You would wait for the show to come on. There was no instant gratification like, let's binge, let's watch. I mean, I remember watching soap operas with my grandma.
In Brazil,
and it would come on at 4:30, The Young and the Restless.
I watched Beverly Hills 90210 every day.
You know, but that would tell. It just, times are different, and you have to go with the flow of the times. But you also need to put some basic foundation down for your children of teaching them, hey, you need to learn how to do this so that you know how when you grow up. Or you know how if I'm not here. And we have to take the time to step back and not do it for them. You and I, especially, we do things. I think Sophie's more independent in that sense.
Yeah. But one thing I love about the culture, about Brazilians, my dad always came home to have lunch with us. My mom never worked, but 12:30, I would come back from school and lunch was served. Mm-hmm. So I had my dad, my mom, and my siblings. And my dad would look in our eyes and say, how was school? I feel like I could never lie if anything I was in trouble, if I did not good at school, anything, because my parents were looking in my eyes and asking, how was school? What did you do today? And I feel like in US, we don't have that big of lunch break.
Well, today in the U.S., if they came home for lunch and the dad
Yeah,
was
what's
there, how was school? Was it good?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Everyone
okay.
has a different.
All right. That's what it
everyone
would
has a different schedule.
That's what it would be like today.
Yeah, everyone has a different schedule, and I feel like sometimes Joy and I try to do that at dinner. It's like, tell me about your day, or tell me something funny about, like, just see like we care, because it's so like, okay, pick up from school. Sophie has piano. Tommy has this and this, and
It's
we don't
definitely-
talk. We don't look into their eyes and ask, hey, what do you go? Did you make any friends? How do you like your teachers? So I feel like I'm trying to bring this culture of what I had, and I loved it.
Yeah. I was going to say that reminded me of you telling your story yesterday about the teacher and your son feeling overwhelmed.
Oh my gosh.
But you don't ever stop
She touched my heart. She
Yeah,
made me
go
cry.
ahead.
So yesterday, my son's teacher emails me. You know, this week was a very stressful week for my family, especially my children. Like I said, transitioning to middle school, all the emotions. You know, they're hitting puberty. They're 12 now. That's
Plus
another
that,
conversation in itself.
Yeah, plus that.
And with that said, you know, sometimes I have to take a step back and just control my temper because they can. You're dealing with. They can get us going
Out of
with their
control.
snap. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm the mom. He's talking to me this way?
Yeah.
Heck no. But then I have to be like, okay, Rach, calm down, take a deep breath. You don't know what's going on with this kid today. He's having all these things going on. Maybe someone's making fun of him in a certain way. Maybe somebody said something to him and he doesn't know how to handle it. All the feelings. They don't have friends. It's a new school, new system, all the things. So I'm like, you know what? Just take it easy. I have to control it. And I could tell he's already emotional, gets in the car every day, and he's just like, you know, raging, like, "Argh." Throughout this week, he wanted to try out for school soccer. That's a 2-hour tryout after school in the heat. After a long day, they wake up at 6:30 every morning.
Yeah, that's
then he
fun.
has his regular soccer. So that's 2 hours at school, 2 hours at regular soccer. And I have to try and squeeze in some food in there, some drinks, and just, you know, you
Not
guys are
even
good.
starting homework yet.
Yeah.
Just,
Right.
you
And
know,
that's
it's
with
4
me.
hours of extracurricular.
Nothing. And
before you-
I remember that's with me getting everything ready for them, packing all the things, all the snacks, all the water bottles with ice, doing all those things they don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
So then he gets home at probably 9:00. So he was at school 6. We're walking in the door 9:15.
It's
He still
tiring.
has 2 hours of homework because they go to extremely rigorous school. Let's not get started with that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm sitting with my son. We haven't had time to discuss his day. He's exhausted. He wants nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
He wants to finish his assignment and he has no time for himself. So he's already overwhelmed. So he goes to the teacher on, I guess it was Wednesday, and he says, hey, miss, I'm feeling really overwhelmed, because she could tell something was wrong. And he told her, like, this is what's going on with me. I'm having soccer. I'm not getting my assignments done because they give them a lot. And she felt like she needed to reach out to me, which I appreciated. She reached out to me. She's like, hey, listen, your son's feeling very overwhelmed. He was emotional today. I don't know what's going on with him, but maybe you want to sit down and talk to him. And I was like, so grateful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because she took the
time and
she
care
wrote
about
me
him.
and she said, hey, just have a talk with him. And it's funny because that day he snapped at me. He snapped at his soccer coach, and he was put out of soccer because of that. And I could just sense something was wrong, but he didn't tell me. He
Yeah.
told her,
Yeah.
which I, like you
It's
brought
easy.
up.
It's easy to just like have disconnects.
Yeah.
You know, as
Yeah.
much as you feel like you're in control of everything, and you know what I mean. It's very easy for like you to be as present as you are, to be just like so disconnected because you're so wrapped up, you're so
Yeah.
busy, you're so overwhelmed.
And I have my husband
Yeah.
to take care of, my other 2 children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have time for myself. I have all these other things that come up in my day. But I was just so grateful that this teacher, took the time out of all her students to sit with my son. And then she actually went ahead and wrote me. It made me cry because I was
Yeah.
like, wow, there's still people out there
No,
that
we really appreciate
care.
those teachers.
Yeah.
It's like a second
know?
mom, and that's how I feel too. Sophie's being so blessed with all her teachers. I feel like they really try to take the time to know each kid's needs.
Absolutely.
I was impressed this first week of school that I was helping at PTA, and like the teachers, I helped some new kids go to their classroom, and the teacher already knew the kids by their name. Imagine you, like 10 years old or 9 years old, going
That's
to a
huge,
new
though.
school.
Yeah, like
And
to
then
know
his
that you
teacher
matter enough for a
comes.
teacher to know.
And the cutest story was this boy on the second day. I opened help him get out of the car, and I said, "Do you know how to get to your classroom, or you need help?" And he said, "I need help." And I was like, "Do you know the name of your teacher?" And he said, "I don't remember." He was nervous, and I said, "How does she look?" He's like, "I just remember she was very nice." So all he remembered from the first day that she was very nice.
Yeah.
So I saw on his binder the name of the teacher, and I took him to the teacher, and I said, "He doesn't remember your name, but he remembered that you were very nice." And she had the biggest smile because, like, how blessed we are to have at least teachers who take the time, like you did with your son. And we need to appreciate, though, because we know how hard it is to have.
I know.
We'll have to bring one of the days they have a day off. We'll have to bring a teacher on here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, because they're not only teachers, a lot of them are moms.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, I'm sure that's like a whole, can you imagine being around kids all day and having to be a certain way and then come home and teach and mother your kids? That would be a lot.
Listen, moms, we are underappreciated.
Yeah.
Let's face
And
it.
We need 7 Mother's Days.
I need to clone myself.
I need a week of a Mother's Day.
I know.
You know?
Having the support of the husbands too, it's
Huge.
It's huge.
Yes.
It's huge. Like sometimes you're dealing with something that you're so frustrated, and your husband comes and talk to the kid in a different level and explain and see things in a different way. Like, I hate when people like, "Oh, put yourself in her shoes." Is that how you say this term?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't need to put myself in
My own shoes.
But then he puts in a different way where it's like, okay, I see her point of view.
Yeah.
To put her like a balance, like a boundary, and I feel like it's so important.
Like for me, I have to stop. I yell, like I just lose it. I go from like 0 to 60 because everything's going on, and I'm like, I have to calm down a little bit more and just, you always tell me that. You're like, Rach, calm down. It's okay. I'm the same way. Yeah. Sometimes you just need a break, and it's hard. Like I'll go to the bathroom and they're like, "Mom," under the door. That's if they're not opening. They gotta unlock the door now.
Yeah.
They walk in and they don't care if I'm on the toilet. They're like, "Mom," blah, 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 blah. I'm like, "Hello."
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's another thing. I think
That's boys.
Another session of just being over, I don't know if the word's overstimulated, overtouched, overneeded. Like that's a real thing. You know, like just always feeling needed. Like sometimes it's just a lot. And for me, because of the age gap in the kids, like 11 and 12, 3,
You have
5 months.
levels.
You know, you have the baby who like actually needs you. Like they depend on you, right? For food sources, for whatever sources, right? And then you have the 3-year-old who's still very like
learning
needy.
things, discovering
They're
things.
3.
Yeah.
They're 3 years old. They've been here for 3 years, right? Okay,
She still needs you.
She needs me, you know, a lot, and she needs the attention. And then, you know, to go from the baby to having another baby, that's a big transition for her. And then the older kids. Middle school and kids
Nasty.
during that age,
it's
brutal.
Yeah.
It is.
And
the comparison, like I feel like I don't know if it's jealousy. Like I'm helping the little one with food. Like you already know how to do this, or just wait or turn.
They want the feeling of, you know, I still need you too.
I need the same attention you give to my brother. I need this.
Because in elementary school, I think too, every grade is a transition for them. They go from like being coddled and loved and, you know, like it's okay to, hey, you got to do this now.
Now
hey.
you guys are the 4th and 5th graders, so now you guys are the older kids in campus.
You
So
have to
like
take care.
Sophie, she's the 5th grader this year. So she went. So now like
cool
they
kid.
are held to
Responsible.
a different standard because you're the oldest kid on campus, and then next year it'll change from that to now you're the youngest. You know, so they're always going through transitions, and they're always very needy. And when it comes to jealousy, I think jealousy just in life is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's social media that's creating the jealousy. I don't know if it's, you know, school or family or what's creating, but I've noticed that maybe because we're always comparing. Like if you're on social media or you're on TikTok, you're always seeing, like before social media, before the internet, you never knew what people had really.
No.
Right?
No.
Like you would watch shows on TV and you'd see like what celebrities have, like maybe they had some shows.
But actually, Gary Vee just did,
that's where I saw that little segue that he did. But
Yeah.
besides that, like you never really knew what people had. Like you might have went over to your friend's house and noticed that like your friend had things that you didn't have. Like you have an Xbox and you have a Sega and they have an Xbox and like small things like that. But if you didn't go there, like it was never in your face all day, every day. Right now, because of what you're
It's all day,
exposed to. And even at
every day.
school, like,
But that's all they talk.
the kids are everything's a
if
comparison.
you go to the cafeteria, all they talk. The
Yeah.
girls talk about, I got this the Sol de Janeiro thing,
Yeah.
or the
I have
boys will be like,
Lululemon pants. Or
Yes.
I have the thing, like the whole like
It's just the
Sephora and
unhealthy,
skin. I mean,
yeah.
you have boys, luckily, so like
Oh,
yours
honey.
are.
they talk too.
Let me tell you,
yeah?
they want Nike Air Jordans,
Yeah, I
and
was
they
gonna
want.
say, it's always
oh my
always
gosh,
something.
I could go
It's
on. You
always
should see
something.
the things they want.
Yeah.
They mostly, my boys like electronics, you know, but my
But
little
even
one,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the kids have real world, and then they have like their alternate universes. They have their Fortnite and their Roblox, and like they live in
Oh,
these
yeah.
like different everything. It's just like so.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
And we
but
didn't have to deal with that growing
We
up.
try so hard to
Limit.
not limit, because it's hard. It's so fun to give things to them because they appreciate it. But at the same time, like, do they appreciate it?
No.
So we try so hard to show them. No, literally, like, to show them.
Yeah.
Especially Sophie, she goes to a public school. I went to a private school all my life. My husband went to a private school in California all his life. We wanted our kids to go to public school. We moved where we live because we wanted the best school. And I want her, and we always talk, hey, you got new shoes, new backpack, a new water bottle. There's kids who goes every day with the same shoes. We don't brag. We don't do this. If you see if somebody's in need, she spent $100 in cafeteria last year. Whereas lunch is for free. Since COVID, lunch is for free for public school. And I said, Sophie, I just got an alert that you have $10 left. How come if lunch is for free? She's like, oh, I've been getting cookies from my table. She's like, Mom, there's kids that literally brings like one sandwich.
Sammy does the same thing.
And
The
that's
cookies.
it.
The cookies.
How you get mad?
Yeah.
But so I want, of course she loves nice things, but I want her to be grounded and see
Yeah.
that she's fortunate, she's blessed, and she needs to appreciate that. Because if not, other kids will see her coming in the Porsche or coming with the nice shoes.
You can say it coming in the Porsche.
Yes,
Yeah.
2 Porsches, 2
No,
red
but
ones. So just like it's. I don't want that. I want her to be humble, and not
Right.
just her. Tommy doesn't understand those things, and but it's hard and it's tiring. Hey, make sure you're nice to kids. Hey, make sure that if you see anybody needing
Yeah.
anything, and it's time consuming and it's scary because out of there, like that she wants to be judged, that she wants to be like, I don't want her to care about what people think, but I want her to be
Mindful.
mindful.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's the
I mean,
word.
you can't be with your kids 24/7.
Yeah.
You have to give them the tools to make the good decisions when you're not around.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can. But again, middle school is a different beast, a completely different beast.
Kids are brutal.
Brutal. I'm scared.
It's like any imperfection or anything like that you
Anything.
want to like
Just on it.
instead of it being like, hey, I have this thing about me, and finding somebody that maybe also has
nice,
that thing
yeah.
about them and connecting over that thing and then like making a bond. In middle school, it's like just tear each other apart.
It is. It's like-
you know, it's
it's-
really,
I'm
and I don't
telling
know what it is
Not
about
fun.
that age, but like you just,
It's like a nasty,
it's just very hurtful and nasty
Hurtful.
and traumatizing.
traumatizing. Because when we were growing up too, there's
Yeah.
a very different, I guess I would say the word stigma, not stigma, around surrounding, I don't want to say bullying, because listen, bullying is not what it was when I was growing up. It's
Yeah.
But the kids
I didn't.
are a lot softer nowadays. I
Yes.
will
Yeah.
say that.
Well, that's
like
the thing.
nowadays, kids
More
are a lot more
sensitive.
sensitive.
More
Like
sensitive.
back in the day, if something happened, your parent
be
would
like,
like
"Shut up."
tell you to shut up and just like deal with it or figure
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna
Everything.
Yeah.
So like in my day, not
Yeah.
that I'm old, but in my day when I was growing up, I mean, you know, if somebody made fun of me, I would be like,
Stand up
okay,
for
whatever.
yourself.
Either stand up for myself or I would ignore it. I'd go home. I'm not going to sit there. Mom, I
No.
would never, ever
Yeah.
have told my
I don't
parents,
remember
number
doing
one.
that at all.
we didn't bother our parents. We
Yeah,
left our
I
parents
didn't-
alone.
Right.
Remember
And
that
then
at
number
all.
2, the next day I'd wake up, I wouldn't think about it twice. Or if I did think about it for the week, I would get over it. Now it's in your face every day because it's on social media. They have a group chat of friends talking about whatever happened.
Yeah.
So it's constantly being brought up to the point where you just kind of like dig yourself in a hole and you start to think about this and you start to believe it as a child.
Yeah.
So I have to like, hey, let's take the training wheels off. I'm very tough on my kids, and I've been told that by all my sisters And it's okay. I'm just not that mom. I'm not a helicopter mom. I never will be. And I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for it, but that's just me. I tell my boys every day, if someone is not hurting you physically, you need to learn how to get that out of your head. I raised you to know your worth. You have to put this confidence in your children and let them know that not everybody is going to be your friend.
Yeah.
And
Or
you're not
like
going to
you,
win all these
right. Yeah.
awards. You're not going to be number one at everything, but that's okay. You get up and you try again. And if you don't like it the next
We
day,
deal with
switch.
this right now. Us as
You
an
have to be
adult.
tough on your kids. If you give every kid a medal for showing up, they're going to expect that for the rest of their lives.
And then when they show up and they don't get the medal, they're gonna think like they're not gonna
They're
know how
not
to
good
like
enough.
handle that. They're gonna think it was reject. Like, no, that's real life. And
Yeah.
in real life,
Yeah.
things aren't fair. In real,
Yeah.
real life, things aren't
100%.
equal. In real life, things aren't gonna go your way.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's just like reality. You know,
Sophie
and
had co-
I think that's just so far from like
Doris.
what people believe and.
No.
Like think nowadays that it's just like things are in a scary place.
100 like
you know,
yesterday,
as far as that for our kids, yeah.
Yesterday, I proved myself right. I was like actually a good mom moment for me because I don't get many of those where I realize I did a good job because, you know, we're hard on
Yeah.
ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We have mom guilt. So yesterday, my son gets in the car. I have twins. One kid makes the soccer team. One kid doesn't. That was my reaction at first. And then I'm like, hold it together. Let's just see how he reacts.
Yeah.
So the one that doesn't get on the team gets in the car. Mom didn't make the team. I'm like, that's okay. He's like, yeah, it's okay. You know, Yusuf's better than me. I just told you who made the team and who didn't. He goes, it's okay. Yusuf is better than me. I said, you're right. You know what? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Let the kid understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said, Yusuf's been playing since he was 5. You just started playing this year.
Yeah.
I'm super proud of you for trying out
Yeah.
and doing
Maybe
your best.
next year you're
and he
in.
said, you know, it's okay. He's like, he did a good job, Mom. He deserves to be on the team. I'm like, good. I go, did other kids from grade 6 make it? Because he's in grade 6.
Yeah,
so
a lot of times sixth graders don't.
there's
make the
only
middle school
there's only
teams
3
because-
positions for
right.
all the grade 6 that tried
Yeah.
out. The rest are 7 and 8.
Yeah, of course.
He goes, yeah. And he named the kids that made it. And he goes, but this kid and this kid and this kid who are his friends also didn't make it. I said, you see?
Yeah.
I said, good. He goes, and they were crying and they were upset. I said, I'm so proud of you. Like, I was so proud of him because this is the kid I babied the most, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And he was fine.
That's nice.
So you just, it's like I always tell my sisters when their kids run up to them, if your kid falls and gets injured and you're like, oh my gosh, they're going to have the same reaction you
absolutely,
do.
absolutely.
You have to be like, hey, it's okay.
You're so
fine.
tough.
You're
Let's-
tough.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's your reaction.
Yeah.
It's your, you know.
Oh, they copy everything we do.
Yeah.
We're the biggest examples. I feel like the way my kids act is exactly like my husband calls me every day or texts me, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? My kids walk in the car, outside the car, anywhere. Mom, do you love me? Mom, do you love me? I was like, it's what they see. They see
I was thinking more this.
my boomerang.
Because when my kid comes back, she's sticking her tongue out and bobbing her head.
That's what I was thinking. Because it's so cute when they take a photo. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy automatic.
It's cute. You know, you are their mirror image. Like they do look at us to a
Yeah.
lot of things. So that's why sometimes when I yell and I freak out, I'm like, oh gosh, they're doing the same thing I am. I mean,
You reminded me. So her kids already did or didn't make the team. So we'll find out
Oh, yeah.
Friday. And that's like another thing is just like, you know, there's
Dealing with that.
dealing like I don't know, one kid might not, and then it's just like, you
It's
know,
life.
for me, you were
Yeah.
talking about how you were going to let them handle it and what like how
Yeah.
whatever his responsive. And for me, I had already said, you know, she asked me, hey, do you think I'm going to make the team? And I said,
We'll
you know,
see.
do I think you're good enough to make the team? Yes. Do I think that if you work hard, you could make the team? Yes.
Did you put the effort to be
do
ready?
I think that, right. I said, do I think it's going to be easy? No. And I said, and if you don't make it, do I think you really deserve to be mad? No. Because you didn't put forth the effort. Like, it was
Yeah.
like,
For
oh, I'm
the
going to
summer,
practice
yeah.
2 days before. I'm going to whatever. Like, you had all summer to prep. You know what I mean? And so the other part about it is like, give your kids real expectations.
Yeah.
Don't
100%.
sugarcoat your kids
No.
and try to protect them because then what she's gonna get in if she doesn't make it, and she's gonna come up with an excuse as to why she didn't make it.
and
She's not gonna look inward, which is
Yeah.
what we all really need to do.
We do.
To be better.
Yeah.
And like take some accountability.
life is hard. And
You
that's
know?
the thing. Like
So-
we're not setting up the right expectations.
Yeah.
For our kids that we grew up with because everyone wants to coddle them. We can't coddle our children. You have to let them
And sometimes
learn.
it's good to fail for them to learn with their emotion too.
If you don't fail, you're never gonna
Yeah.
persevere through everything. If there's no failure, there's never like retry. So that's the only way that you get better and you do things differently is failing at them first.
Sophie last year tried so hard for the main character of the
I remember.
chorus.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was so hard to take it because she took the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were at Disney in line for those attractions. She was practicing her line. She was practicing to get that. And in my mind, the teacher's gonna get a 5th grader. Of course, it's the last year of the 5th grader.
Right.
She's not gonna get a 4th grader. Sophie has a chance of getting or not getting next year in my mind. And then I saw the email before and I told my husband, I need to go get her. She's gonna cry. She's gonna be sad. I need to get her. And Joe's like, hey, it's good. Yeah. Because she's always like the captain of the battle book, the this and that. Like Joe's like, it's good for her to learn.
To humble.
To humble.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
and it's like, let her be, let her understand that's life. She might not get a job she wants. She might not get the school she wants. And it's like, she needs to learn how to deal with her emotions. But it was really hard. I was in front of her.
When she said to be humble, I'm dying at this because the other day when my kids ask me for something now, I'm such a mean mom.
No, you're not.
I put on Kendrick
She's
Lamar,
not.
Be Humble in the car and I just start driving.
Yeah.
So they ask me for stuff now. That's like my go-to. I just put on that song and I start driving and I'm like, what's he saying? That's right. Quiet. Don't ask me for nothing. You got enough this month.
Right.
Because they ask and ask and ask. Nothing's ever enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, never is enough.
And I think the next time we get on here and talk, that's something that we talk about is, things not ever being enough. Like I think yesterday when we were talking about like, what's the topic? And it was, wanting too much or doing too much or, not knowing when enough,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's something in this, what is the word? When you always just buy stuff, this consumer world of always feeling like you need the next
latest
thing,
thing.
The
the
next
latest
thing.
and
What's
greatest.
the next thing? Yeah.
So,
There's always something, right?
There's always something.
I know. And back to Orange Theory, which was how we met and the competitiveness of these children and trying to make the teams. Hey, if you don't PR, it's okay. Personal best.
Actually, today I'm here and my brain, I'm like, do I go to class? Do I try? Because today is actually a signature.
It's
Today's
true.
Catch Me If You Can. So
husband's
I
favorite.
actually looked at my last PR and in my brain, I'm like, there's no way. Because that was about a year and a half after Vivian. So I had been like working out a lot and now it's post baby. And I was like, do I go after the podcast?
You look amazing.
Do I go to 12 o'clock? Do I try to PR? Do I just go to see where I'm at? You know? So
Fall
it's
off the
like,
tread like me.
yeah. So...
Don't lose yourself.
Yes. It was funny. I went with Byron on Sunday to Orange Theory, and I was at like 8.5 or whatever, and I was like, babe, this is how fast she was going when she fell off.
So
I'm like, can you imagine?
Just to put it out there, the other day I was mortified, not embarrassed, just mortified. I'm at Orange Theory. I'm running.
South Tampa Orange Theory.
South Tampa Orange Theory.
South Tampa.
If you are from Tampa, if you know, you know. Let's just leave it at that.
Right.
I'm running on the treadmill like I always do. One of my shoelaces gets undone. I trip and fall. But again, I'm in motion. So I fly off with dignity, and it's me. They know me. I will not let anybody get the best of me. That's just who I am. I get up like there's nothing wrong with me.
Right.
Oh, I'm fine. Not that any of them even looked at me. They were like in their own world.
Nobody stopped their treadmill to help.
The treadmill to
kept
help
going.
because of where I was.
South Tampa.
Right,
Yeah.
South Tampa.
And so I'm like, let me get back on. Nobody noticed. Not even the coach saw me. So me thinking that my treadmill had stopped or someone was nice enough to hit stop, I'm like, I'm fine, I'm good. I get back on the treadmill, but at this point, I'm not moving, and it's still going 8.5.
Oh my gosh.
I step on the treadmill, I freaking fly off. Like, I think I was going 80.5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And look at my shoulders. I will just show your camera. Get a good close-up on that one. Get a good close-up on this one.
Yeah, like...
And then I can't show you my legs, but they don't look pretty. Anyhow.
You can imagine.
So then that's when these South Tampa people stopped and they were like, giving me, instead of like, are you okay? No, I got this. Thinking I have a handicap, like I'm not normal. Because who does that? Who gets back
I would have
on the
like
treadmill?
immediately stopped and jumped off.
We've
like
done
whether
that so
I know
many
you or not,
times.
like there's no way that I'm just
Especially
gonna...
with my husband dropping
Oh
on the
yeah, your
floor.
husband would have been like, oh. I love Joe. No, but it's just funny. Like,
Yeah.
I got off and I was like, okay.
But you're a mom, and so you got back up and you kept it pushing,
But that's-
and you
And
probably
went to Caroline.
You
And
probably
went
went
to
in the car.
Caroline.
But that's to my
So
point.
on our next episode, it'll be Caroline Chronicles.
Oh, God.
And my listen, I was like in the car, and I was like, what's the toughest part of my day? And I was like, it's got to be the hour and a half in the morning with the
Driving.
kids.
It is.
Driving. Because it's just like...
Getting them out the door
Yeah.
is probably 50% of it, if not 60.
Yeah.
Just getting them to go.
We're in the car. Mind you, the ride to the first drop-off is 25 minutes, right? You have 25 minutes to finish eating your breakfast, to
Have a
get your
console.
book bag, to make sure your water bottle's in your book bag,
Tie your
to
shoes.
put your shoes. I'm in the car line opening the door, and her shoes aren't tied.
And they were
I
like,
feel
let's
you.
go,
I
let's
feel
And I'm like,
you.
is this real life?
Yes,
You know?
it is.
And it's just, there's never a dull moment. Or I look back,
No.
Vivian last night had put like the stick-on nails. And she had them all on and she was like this. And I'm just like, you know, I don't think that you can wear them to school, you know? Like, but then what's the alternative? To have a meltdown screaming as you get her out of the car? I just let her wear the fake nails to school.
So
Today?
cute.
Yeah.
Aw.
you're gonna get a note.
They're gonna get a note.
I'm just warning you.
Yes.
Vivian's
Because
fake
you're gonna-
nail-
you're gonna get a no.
Vivian's fake nail got stuck in her nostril. I was like, oh, you know.
They're gonna send a
or-
notice to all parents. Parents,
Right.
please do not send.
They are a big distraction.
They're a big
I know, but you
distraction.
know what? I just didn't have, before we were walking out the door, Peyton was putting her necklace on and the diamond on it fell off the necklace. So I'm trying to get out of the house and then I'm searching. The cleaning lady's coming today. She's going to sweep it. I'm not going to be able to find the diamond.
You're like,
I'm
oh
like,
my God.
it's probably stuck in your shirt. Get in the car. And then she gets in the car and she's in the back. I found my necklace. In
Like
the back
nothing
seat.
happened.
I love
Right.
how-
And I'm just like, you just like, you know, but.
And then my boys putting their snots on everything.
Mom
and,
life.
you know,
Mom
it's
life.
like diamonds, snots, food.
Food.
Tommy eating his octopus, wanting octopus. I love that boy.
He loves to eat some food in my car.
Yeah.
Vacuum
"Mom."
every day.
Yeah.
But anyways.
But this was fun. I
Yes,
miss,
it
I
was-
miss hanging out with my
I know
girls.
this was a lot of fun, and I can't wait for the next time. And if those of you who were watch this, you know,
Can resonate.
Yeah.
follow, like,
on our
subscribe, you know, and if you want to come on, you're a mom in the
Help.
Tampa Bay area,
Have
or a
anything to
teacher,
share.
have
Yes.
anything to share, you
Tell
know,
us. Hit stop on the treadmill for me.
yeah.